Fourth grade into math lesson 6.6. Divide using partial quotient. I can use partial quotients to divide multi-digit numbers by one-digit numbers. Spark your learning. At an airport, shuttle buses take passengers from the parking lot to the terminal. To transport 96 passengers, 4 shuttle buses are needed. How many passengers can fit on each bus? So we need to pull out our information. What do we need to circle? 96 passengers, 4 shuttle buses. How many passengers can fit on each bus? So we did yesterday repeated subtraction, right? We did the number line where we jumped back. Okay, you could have done it that way. And then also with multiplication, we did multiplying partial products. Today we're going to be dividing using partial products. So when we did that, we either did it where we lined it up and got our partial product, or we did it with a box. So let's try it with a box first. Okay, so I'm going to draw my box. I know I'm going to have 4. Okay, and then I said to always do the first number in multiples of 10. Okay, so if I had 80 here, what would be left in my other box? What's 96 minus 80? 16, right? So to get to 80, I had to take 4 times what? 20. So I'm going to put 20 up here because I took 4 times 20 to get 80. And then to get 16, I had to take 4 times what? 4. So I'll put a 4 up here. So then I add these and I get what? 24. So basically we just worked backwards, right? Multiplication is an inverse of division. So before we used to get the numbers on top and then find out what went in the box, right? This time we found out what went in the box and then found the numbers that went on the top. Okay, so our answer would be 24 what? Passengers. In this one, we didn't have a remainder, right, guys? An airplane has 165 seats. There are 5 seats in each row. How many rows of seats are there? So we know we're dividing by 5, so we have to go down 5. Okay, then, like I said, we want to do so many. We want to break that 165 into so much, right? Okay, so what do we want to first break it into? Could we do 100? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to put 100 here because I know that I need 100 little cubes there. So I took 5 times what to get 100? Times 20. Okay, so then I have to go across 20 little boxes. Okay, so right there is 100 boxes, and then there's 20 across the top, and there's 5 down the side. Okay, so now we're left with 65. Okay, what could I break that into? Could I do 60? Can I just do each place value? So what would that be? 5 times what gets me 60? 12. Okay, so then I have to go over 12 boxes. Okay, and then there's 12 up here. Now I have how much left over? 5, right? Okay, this one's a little trickier because we already have 5 here. So we would only have to go over what? How many boxes? 1, right? Because 5 times 1 is 5, right? So this would be 1. So then now what do I do? I add this, right? 20 plus 12 is what? 32 plus 1 is, so 33 is what 165 divided by 5 should be. Let's look at our questions. Letter A, how did you break apart 165 into smaller parts that are multiples of 5? So we broke them into their units, right? or their place values. We broke them into 100, then the 10, and then the 1. Could we have also chunked it differently too? Yeah. Yes, but this is what we came up with. Letter B, how can you divide each smaller part of the dividend to find a smaller part of the whole quotient? So we said 100 for this first box, and then we said 5 times 20 got us that, so we put 20 on top, right? Okay, and then we did it for the preceding boxes to come. Letter C, each smaller part of the whole number quotient is called a partial quotient. Okay, so we've learned partial products with multiplication, right, guys? This time we're doing partial quotients. How can you use these partial quotients to find 165 divided by 5? So what did we do when we got our numbers on the top? We then added them together to get our total quotient, correct? So what were these right here? These things right here are called the what? What did we just learn these are called? Partial. They are not partial products. That's with multiplication. These are partial quotients. Okay, so those pieces that we added together are called the partial quotient. So how many rows of seeds are there? 33. So in the partial quotient method of dividing, multiples of the divisor are subtracted from the dividend, and then the partial quotients are added together. So yesterday you guys did repeated subtraction, correct? Okay, you would have probably seen some of these numbers in there if you would have just kept going. Now, you guys have a huge numbers today, like 165. So would you want to sit there and subtract 5 over and over 33 times? No. So is this a quicker way? Yes. Step it out. Number 2, use partial quotients to find 862 divided by 7. Find a multiple of the divisor that is less than or equal to the dividend. So they said to do 7 times 100, which would get us what? Would be 700. So we're going to put that in here. Okay. So then they said 862 minus 700 leaves you 162. Okay. Now, how they said 7 can go into 162 20 times. And what would that get you? Or at least 20 times. 140. Correct? Okay. Then they said 162 minus 140 leaves you with what? 22. Okay. And then now they say 7 times 3 is what? It's 21. So then they said 22 minus 21 is 1 left over. So then they say you need to add all 3 of these things together. And what is 100 plus 20 plus 3? 123. So my answer would be 123 with the remainder of 1, because that's what we had left over that 7 could no longer go into. Check understanding. Hank loaded 848 snack packs onto 4 airplanes. He puts the same number of packs on each plane. How many packs does Hank put on each airplane? So we're going to do this 2 different ways, okay? So they said right here, 4 times 200 got them 800. 4 times what gets you 40? 10. So then I'm going to put a 10 up here. Okay. And then 4 times what gets me 8? 2 equals 8. I'm going to put a 2. So if I add those together, 200 plus 10 plus 2 is what? 212. Okay. Let's do it the other way and check ourselves. Okay. So they started it for us. They put 848 in the house divided by 4. They said 4 times 200 got us 800. So what is 848 minus 800? 48. It's 48. Okay. Now, you guys know your multiplication up to 12. So you technically could just do 4 times 12 and get the next step, right? Okay. The only thing is they give you more steps. So can we do that? No. Not yet. we're going to do it just like they did over here, and we're going to take 4 times 10 to get what? To get 40. So 48 minus 40 is 8. Okay. So then what can I take times 4 to get me closest to 8 without going over? 2. And 4 times 2 is 8. And then 8 minus 8 is 0. Then I take and I add these things together. So 200 plus 10 plus 2 is what? 212. So, oh, I forgot to put it over here. 200 plus 2, or 200 plus 10 plus 2 equals 212. So Hank loads 212 snack packs on each plane. On your own, number 2, attention precision. This airport parking garage has 5 floors. Each floor holds the same number of cars. How many cars can each floor hold? Use partial quotients to divide, show your work. Okay, so they have it set up for us, and then they have already the first step. So what is 5 times 200?
5 times 200 equals 1,000.
So put 2 in a box, write 10, and then 2 zeros. Okay, then we subtract that out, and we're left with 545. Okay, so let's move to our next place value. So we are going to put 5 times, what would get us that? 5 times what?
5 times.
Can we do 100?
Yeah.
Okay, which gets us 500, and we're left with 45. Okay, so now you guys already know a single digit number times 5. So 5 times what gets me closest to 45 without going over? 9. And that equals 45, and I have nothing left over. So now I'm going to add all of these together. And what is 200 plus 100? 300 plus 9 is 309. So each floor of the garage can hold 309 cars. Okay, so number 3, use structure. Which problem is easier to solve using partial quotients and why? So we're just going to talk about this one. So 693 divided by 3 or 543 divided by 3. Which one would be easier to solve?
693.
Okay, why would 693 be easier? They're all multiples of 3, right? So they would go in there super easy, and then we just have to add a couple numbers and then go on, right? Okay. All right, let's look at number 4. So we're going to do number 4. I'm going to pause the video because we're running out of time, and then you guys are going to do 5 and 6 with your partners. I'll check them, and then you move on to the homework by yourself. We're going to put 248 in the house as our dividend, and then 8 as our divider. Okay, if you don't have enough room, you can always get another piece of notebook paper. Okay, so we went ahead and said that 8 times 30 got us 240 because we started with multiples of 10 to dwindle it down and make it smaller. And then all we were left with was 8. So we took 8 minus 8 and got 0. Or we took 8 times 1 to get 8. And then 8 minus 8 was 0. So we added 30 plus 1, which got us 31. Okay, we're going to work one more together, number 5. So we have 185 as our dividend in our house divided by 5. We decided we were going to do 100 first to subtract out. So we would take 5 times 20 to get 100. And then we subtract that out. That's 85. Then, what's another unit of 10 I could use, guys? Not 20, but 10, right? So 5 times 10 gets me 50. Subtract that out. That leaves me what? 35. Okay. And then I can take 5 times what to get me close to 35 without going over? 7. Because 5 times 7 is 35. And I have nothing left over. So then I come over here and I add these together. And what do I get? 37. So 37 is my answer. So number 6, you guys will do with partners, I'll check, and then you'll work on your homework.